There's a famous book called The Gulag Archipelago describing the Soviet prison labor system that helped kill millions of people. They were enslaved and they died in the process of creating the Russian utopia. And one of the quotes that is attributed to Solzhenitsyn, "Let the lie come into the world, let it even triumph, but not through me." This is why I make these videos, because I feel that I am in a place economically and socially, or lack of socially, where I don't have that much to risk in terms of sticking up for what I believe to be true. I will not let lies run rampant and destroy the bonds of our society. This is why I make these videos. As I begin, turn that like button blue. You get a little hit of endorphins when you turn it blue. Make me feel good, make you feel good. And if you're new to the channel and you like this video, subscribe and or share the video as well. Here we go. Today, I want to briefly discuss the firing of Robert McNeil and the New York Times, by the New York Times. The man was a reporter for the health section of the newspaper, and he's been with the paper for almost 40 years. He gained a lot of accolades, a lot of fans, and he did some good work on the COVID situation last year. He was fired for reportedly on a trip to Peru stating in a question to somebody who had asked about the N-word, which of course is not repeatable on YouTube, and I'm fine that I don't get to say it as a white person, but when somebody uses it in a reference way, like did he say this word in this manner, and they actually use the word, they're not meaning it as a pejorative. They're not meaning to use it to take somebody else down and to hurt somebody else's feelings. They are discussing it like a scientist would discuss an experiment, you know, a chemical reaction. And the New York Times firing him and said that intent doesn't matter after 40 years, kicking him to the curb when he did not even mean it in a negative manner, and they fire him for it. This cancel culture has gotten so atrocious, so horrible, that something like this could happen, that these people are so sensitive, and not even sensitive, they are primed like sharks to see blood in the water. They smell the blood in the water and they start circling, and a feeding frenzy begins, and the carcass of Robert McNeil was thrown out of the offices, thrown out of the windows of the New York Times, demolished by the woke sharks circling in the water, attacking anything that departs from the orthodoxy. These sharks allow the fish that swim at the same rate as them, that say the same things, to survive. But you swim just a little bit adrift and they pounce on you. And that scares the rest of the population, because most people are not willing to stand up against the stupidity, this malignant evil that is being created. And all the sharks are working with one another to try to out-woke each other for the social status points that exist, that are given to people. And we have to start being able to take those social status points away and to point out the idiocy of doing this, of taking somebody down because they used a word. And the thing that they'll say, once again, the New York said intent doesn't matter. I wish to remind those editors of this fact if they ever were to run over somebody, if they were ever to run over a child. God forbid that that happens, and it was an accident and they feel horrible. I think that they should, as they gave Robert McNeil the death penalty for his career, that they should get the death penalty for having killed another human being, because intent doesn't matter. So following their idiotic logic, we have to hold them to the same standard. Of course, we're not able to hold the leftist media to the same standard. No, 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 no. They get to take on Ted Cruz for traveling to Cancun for a night in the middle of a winter weather in Texas. But holding Joe Biden into account for a lie, like saying the COVID vaccine wasn't there when he got into office and only came into existence afterwards, a total lie. The media doesn't hold him to account for that. The media doesn't hold AOC into account for her atrocious lies. That doesn't happen. It happens one way. And again, the double standard doesn't really matter because once again, what we're talking here is about intent. They'll say it's not the intent, it's the impact. Again, if you accidentally kill somebody, that person is dead. Intent still matters legally. It is baked into our legal system, isn't it? And intent matters when you're using a word. If I say, oh, I'm going to kill you, that's very different than saying I'm going to kill you. It's the same thing, but the intent is very different. And similarly, even if somebody does use the word, even if somebody does use a pejorative against me, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to react in a negative manner. I might just laugh at the stupidity of the person that tried to insult me. That is a possibility. The impact is differential based on the psychology of the person, and we are being taught to reach out and to be offended, to feel the negative effects that are inside of us that are just triggered by a word. And this is a sickening thing that's happening to our society. We are less strong. We are not anti-fragile, as Nicholas Nassim Taleb will use the word, where you are able to stand up to an impact of something. It's not going to take you down. You're not fragile. It's like the immune system. You develop the immune system by exposing it to various pathogens, and that strengthens you, and then you recognize them again. That's why a lot of people that engage in dirty work, that are surrounded by, in the slums of Mumbai, which are about the most disgusting places that you've ever been. If you've ever been to the slums of Dharavi is what they're called. I've been there. And it's really, it's awful. But those people have a much stronger immune system than the American babies that are kept in a bubble and kept away from peanut butter. We develop an allergy to peanut butter when we don't expose ourselves to it. And the same thing here, you expose people to challenges and they get strengthened, they become anti-fragile. So the impact that it has is a direct function of our society telling people that they need to feel aggrieved, that they are the victims, and not just to ignore and go on in life. And this is what's happening in the New York Times, where they are allowing this notion to prosper in the direct actions of firing somebody who's been on their staff for 40 years. It's disgusting. It's sick. There's no professional courtesy there. And the stupid editor, Dean Baquet of the New York Times, says when it comes to racialized language, intent doesn't matter. Yes, it does. This is why you guys need to stop reading the New York Times altogether. Just toss that paper out. If somebody throws that paper on your door, toss it back at them, because that is poisonous garbage that he is propagating forth. Let the lie enter the world. Let it even triumph, but not through me. That's why I make these videos. I will not allow people to say that intent doesn't matter. It's the impact. Both statements are wrong because, again, the impact is a function of many different things, intent being only a small part of it. Of course, for them, intent doesn't matter, because the impact will always be the same when a rock smashes into a porcelain, delicate cup. But if it strikes one made out of metal, the cup survives. The left wants everybody made out of delicate porcelain because they are. If you have more internal fortitude, you are a threat to their ego. And dare you say anything that might offend their ultra-delicate sensibilities and trigger that hair trigger that they have, need to be reckoned with and need to be taken down. But you don't have to be that fine china. You have the ability to build your tensile strength so that you're not affected in the same way that they are, so that they are not able to describe and judge the impact that a single word is going to have on you. For sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, is something that needs to be whispered over and over in the ears of these cry babies of cancel culture who wish to demonize you for holding an alternative point of view and having greater strength and fortitude. It's your decision to become anti-fragile. Let those fragile babies whine into their own pillows. Stop listening to them. Please share this video if you think that somebody would benefit from it. Thumb it up on YouTube. Turn that likey button blue. And if you're new, subscribe, notification bell.